What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Talk Louder podcast, where we geek out on all things rock and roll. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Leave us your likes and comments. You can also leave likes and comments on our Facebook page and follow us on iTunes and Spotify. I'm Metal Dave, along with my co-host Jason McMaster.
Cheers.
And today we are joined by Riverboat Gamblers guitarist Ian MacDougall, who not only plays for the Gamblers, he's got his own other project called Broken Gold, and he has worked for the Foo Fighters, plays in a group called Band of Horses, and he is the wearer of many hats. And don't take my word for that again. We'll hear it straight from him. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Ian MacDougall, guitarist for the Riverboat Gamblers and a man of many talents. How are you, man?
Yeah. What's up? I'm good.
I'm glad you could join us, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is cool.
You in quite a while. I think the last time I saw you, you were playing a benefit gig for BJ, bass player from Eastside Suicides, which was quite a while ago, and then COVID hit, and so I haven't seen you in a long time, man. It's good to see your face.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you too. I think I can't even remember. When that was
a couple years ago, I think.
It was more than maybe like 3 or something at the park.
Dave, aren't you glad that I had easy access?
Yeah.
Got Ian on speed dial.
Yeah.
You guys,
this is awesome. I've watched a bunch of these.
Cool.
And I was texting Jason about it the other night. I watched the Rhino Bucket one, and that was rad.
That's a good one.
Yeah. We're picking up some momentum and enjoying having some really cool guests, you included. I didn't realize that you and Jason were co-workers.
Oh, yeah.
We've been trying to keep it a secret for a while, but now that the word is out, I think that, stock is going to rise with School of Rock. Everyone's going to start wanting to send their kids just because, I know Ian.
You know what we should get out of this is a Broken Teeth Riverboat Gamblers split.
There you go. That would be awesome.
We go.
Okay, ready, go.
7 inch. Let's do it.
I'll do it.
Doesn't that sound good? That sounds great.
I'm down, dude. Man, that's the funnest thing, is being able to put together like we were just kind of talking about, like just putting together something super fun, like that, the shirt and the songs and stuff that we did recently with the Ramones and Motorhead stuff. Like, we hadn't gotten together in the studio in years. I can't even remember, but it was kind of one of those things where we got asked to do this one cover for a compilation, and we were already in there, and it was like, let's just knock out a couple other ones. And the band used to cover both of those songs long time ago, like way even before I was in the band. And, but everybody already knew them. And so it was really easy to just kind of like pull them out and just kind of do it.
So tell everybody what we're talking about here. We're talking about a new 7-inch single from the Riverboat Gamblers that is, one side is a Ramones cover and the other side is a Motorhead cover, and I'll let you take it from here.
I guess it's, I don't know how and why it started getting called Remotorhead, but that's just what, I don't know.
Appropriate.
Yeah. But we were recording a Jerry Rafferty cover, and I've been telling Jason about this and actually talking to him about it like the entire time. I was just like, yeah, we're going to do this. I don't know how it ended up coming out really awesome.
Yeah. Dude.
And it was cool. It was a cool project because it was, like right when everybody was starting to kind of feel like a little bit more, not so much of the heebie-jeebies about getting in the same room and kind of working on something. And, we were wearing masks and stuff the entire time. And we went in there and recorded that Jerry Rafferty cover, but it was like, let's just knock these other ones out really quick. And it was super fun. Not only because we got to like just all be in the same room together and play together again, but it was also cool because we kind of roped in a bunch of friends, and it's kind of awesome. We got CJ to sing backups on the Bonzo Goes to Bitburg, which was rad.
Yeah.
And that was such like a, I was like, I keep in, like, he took my other band Broken Gold out on tour a few years ago, and we still kind of just shoot the shit every once in a while. And I just kind of was just like, dude, we're doing this thing. Would you want? Because I know he has a little setup like all this, and that he could easily just kind of like bust out a vocal thing and send it. And so we just dropped it in, and we got my buddy Ryan that plays keys in Band of Horses. He played organ on the Jerry Rafferty song, and then we got Sabrina from A Giant Dog to come in and sing on some stuff, and Dave from Crumb Bums came and ripped some vocals on No Voices in the Sky by Motorhead. It's cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
It was funny because we were recording that with Stuart, and Stuart's never met Dave, and like Dave's I don't know, it's just like two different worlds kind of intersecting a little bit. And he was like, Dave, that guy can hold a for like a good like 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious watching Stuart go like, God damn, man, like how long can that motherfucker do that? Like but it came out cool. I'm excited for, it's already, you can listen to it now. This stuff is
Stuart Sullivan, you're saying?
Stuart Sykes, this guy.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's this dude that he's been around. We've been working and doing recording with him, and I've interned with him and done all, he's a really good dude. He's here in town. But
So just to be clear, we're talking about a 7-inch single. One side is Motorhead as a cover of the Motorhead song "No Voices in the Sky" with Dave from the Crumb Bums singing lead vocals on that.
Oh yeah.
And then the flip side is a cover of the Ramones, "Bonzo Goes to Bitburg" with CJ Ramone singing backup vocals on it.
Yeah, I thought, and Weeby, he killed it on both of those too himself. Yeah, it was cool, man. Just being in there and messing around.
And where can people get this or hear it or find it or whatever?
Pretty much anywhere streaming wise, you can get it anywhere. It's already up on Spotify and Apple Music, and I don't know if it's up on iTunes. Obviously, Bandcamp. You can go to anxiousandangry.com and actually purchase the 7-inch. And we started doing these like t-shirt bundle things, and that was the awesome thing. Honestly, like when we were doing it, it was strictly like, let's just do this for fun. And, we like these songs, and what are we going to do with these? And we like started with, maybe if somebody buys a t-shirt, we'll like add like some download or something like that. And then our buddy Ryan from Off With Their Heads, he was just like, y'all, it's hilarious because he makes fun of us all the time that we just like constantly never have our shit together as a band. And so he was just like, all right, just let me do it, and like, he was like, kind of put the 7-inch together, and he's like, Jesus, okay, come on, guys, and
so the Gamblers don't have that guy that wears that hat that just automatically handles all that kind of shit. You guys just go, I don't know, are you gonna do it, Bob?
We got used to having those people around, and then we don't have them around anymore.
Right. Right. Usually in a band, I just take it for granted that everybody knows that, there's this guy that does these little chores in your band, and there's the other guy that does there's these different hats that each guy wears.
Yeah, everybody
always been that way in every band I've been in. I thought it was the same.
For sure. I mean, like we've all got our little hats and stuff still, but as far as like actually like getting a physical product out, I think that's when we need the cheerleader person on the side.
You need Ryan going, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
We're like, dude, put this out, because a lot of it was just like, we'll just give it away for free with a t-shirt,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that segues
go more into debt,
segues nicely into my next question, which I think you just answered. I was going to ask, when can we expect the next Gamblers record, since it's been about 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have put out singles, so you have made songs available, but you haven't put out a full length album in a long time.
Yeah. I know. So,
yeah.
I'm super aware.
Any news on that front?
Yeah, man, we actually, the three of us, well, me and Fadi and Mike got together and we had like a for real, like, let's talk about this. And Mike and I have kind of always work on stuff. It's just, and Jason, you know this, I'm sure, many times over. It's like, you get into a band and, you're playing with, everybody's got their lives, you know what I mean? And they've got kids, they've got jobs. And, for me, and this is kind of all I do at this point, like, which is, I'm extremely grateful and lucky that I just work on music stuff. And, but it's kind of hard to kind of get everybody kind of all in the same place in the past few years. And there's never a situation where we wouldn't like want everybody involved to do something. So, you know what I mean? So like, it wouldn't be like, oh, me and Mike will just go in there and we'll kind of like record a bunch of stuff and then that's it. And then we'll call it whatever. It's like, no, everybody's got to be there and for it to be good and for it to be cool and for everybody to be comfortable calling it what it is, which is, the band. And,
yeah.
And, so there's a bunch of reasons why stuff, like we went through the gamut of things that happen to a band, like where you're working real hard and lots of, almosts and lots of kind of like home runs and lots of other, I don't know, just stuff, that just kind of happens along the way.
You win some and you lose some.
Yeah, mostly lose some. Yeah, but that makes it when you win some even better, Yeah,
you got one foot over the finish line and one in the grave.
Yeah,
however you want to put it. It sounds like a lyric.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go on record as saying, and I mean this with all due respect to my co-host Jason and our producer Jared, because I'm a huge Broken Teeth fan, probably my favorite band in the world. But I've said,
damn, here's that $5 oh you.
Yeah. And I've said this since the first time I ever saw the Gamblers, and this is before Ian was in the band. Best live band on the planet. You guys, your shows are always so high energy and so much fun. I take people to your shows that don't even like rock and roll, and they walk out of there going, holy shit, that was great. That's
awesome.
Much fun. Yeah, because you guys, there's a sense of, first of all, there's a lot of energy coming off the stage, and there's also this element of humor that it just can't be ignored, regardless of what your preference is in terms of music. You're going to walk away from a Riverboat Gambler show having a good time. And, I miss you guys. I love you guys. And I'm hoping that the pandemic being over and maybe you guys get in a room and knock out an album, or at least get back on stage. I'll be happy with a gig.
Yeah, man, we're playing with the Zero Boys coming up. That, remember the Civilizations Dying in Minneapolis?
Yeah,
we played with them once before, which was a wild ass show at it was in California, but it was with TSOL and Anti-Nowhere League and the Zero Boys.
Oh, man,
that's
a punk rock Super Bowl right there.
That's kind of legendary. I want to sort of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, man.
There's so many things that I want to pretty much name drop because you've gotten to do, you yourself have gotten to do a lot of cool things personally.
Oh,
but the music, the songs that the bands that you are in, the bands you were in, the bands you've toured with. Tell us just like maybe a Henry Rollins story or something. Didn't you guys tour with Rollins?
Yeah. Man, he was super, super cool. He was one of those dudes that when we came out, we toured with Gamblers opened up for X and Rollins band back in 2000, and it was one of the early ones. It wasn't the 2010s. It was sometime before that. I still have I've got this this thing is filled with all the laminates and stuff. I wonder if I really hope it's like right at the top. But
did you steal that from Nicolas Cage? You know, national secrets or secret from the movie is from the set.
It looks like some Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
National treasure or whatever.
Yeah. It's a bunch of national follies actually inside of here. Man, he was super cool. I remember there was a few little weird things. Like he used to he would pace around like in the hallways and stuff, like in between, like right before they were about to go on stage. So X and Rollins band, they were kind of like flip-flopping co-headlining. So it depended on where we were. We did like the whole states with them. And it depended on where we were, who would headline and stuff. So, you know, we would get finished. That was the one thing, is because we were first to 3, sometimes second to 4, if there was a local opener or something like that. And, we'd get done, you know, and we're like trying to get our shit off stage and just kind of like, you know, you're in this corridors and stuff. And he would be like beelining back and forth in this corridor. So it was almost kind of like a game of Frogger with our gear sometimes. And he's walking around, of course, shirtless, you know, and he had, you know, his headphones in, and he was just walking around going, just like beating his chest, like just getting ready, pumped to go on stage. Right. And, I just remember like so many times walking by and just being like, oh my gosh, like, when's like a good time to just walk by? Like, I want to get this fucking amp out of here just so I can go and just sit down now. And
you're being respectful. I love it that you're being respectful. And
totally. I mean, you're not going to like, the dude is like pumping iron in the trailer of, you know, with the gear gets loaded out and he's in there working out, you know what I mean? Like,
so he's got your Marshall head doing curls with a Marshall head in a road case. He's got a road case going, ooh.
Oh man, that tour was something else. But so, you know, you walk by and he's just like full on, just like war mode, ready to go on stage. And then you walk by and be like, what's up, Hank? And he'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, like totally super nice. And he would just like kind of break out of character for a minute or something. And then just go back into ready to go on stage. But he used to do this weird thing too, which I never like, it was crazy. He would do this thing on stage where he would just like tense and like flex for like a long period of time to where all the sweat on his body would beat up, and then he would hit his chest. And it was like that thing when they put water on snare drums or something.
Yeah.
Just wild.
Like kinda, a Twisted Sister video, bro.
Yeah. He was cool. And then, you know, like, and then you'd catch him, you know, just in passing and just say, what's up? And then next thing you know, you're talking about like Johnny Ramone for 2 hours with him. And he was really good friends with him. And it was cool, man. One of the coolest things though, at least for my nerd brain, with everything, is we were in DC at the 930 Club. And this is back when Pat Lillard was in the band. You remember Pat, Dave?
Yeah.
So Pat was in the band in every single show. And this was not just because we were in DC. He used to always sound check his amp with Waiting Room by Fugazi. Just that do. Did it every single time. And then of course we're at the 930 Club in DC and Ian MacDougall is there. And we didn't know, but apparently he heard Pat doing that and like just marched out of the building. And we were like, oh man, did we piss him off or something? Maybe he thought we were like, we had no clue that he was in the fucking building. But later on, X is sound checking and they were filming this children's TV show called Pancake Mountain, which is like a children's public access TV show that was done by like punk rock parents, you know? So like they would have X on there and they would do like, we're going to talk about the alphabet. And then like all these kids were on stage and they were holding all of these letters and the missing letter was X and Exene was holding it. And then they would play a song. So I remember like we were watching them film this and I kind of was up in the wing, like on the stage left side up on the second balcony. And there's Ian MacDougall and Henry Rollins just sitting there. And I was just kind of like, I didn't say anything. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything, but I was wearing a t-shirt, bootleg t-shirt that my friend Josh made of this old 70s punk band called Eater. You remember that band? They had like they were like, I don't know, they were like a novelty band because they were super young, but they had some good songs. And I was wearing this Eater t-shirt, and it was hilarious because they were both saying like, you think this guy actually fucking likes Eater? Like, you know, they were like, kind of, and I was like, oh dude, I love like Room for One and like all and whatever. And they were like, I can't believe this guy actually likes fucking Eater. And that was my one nerd moment where I was like, those guys thought my t-shirt was cool.
Well, let me say this, we just had a talk louder moment, because you're in the right place, because this is where we tell the nerd, like, I'm a little uncomfortable because these guys rule and I'm not worthy, kind of a.
Oh, totally.
This is what our show is kind of about, really.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I'm, like just Forrest Gump in those moments.
Yes.
I want to hear a nerd moment with CJ Ramone. So you toured with him in your band Broken Gold.
Yeah.
So first of all, tell people a little bit about Broken Gold if they're not familiar. How would you describe that band versus, say, Riverboat Gamblers? Tell us about Broken Gold real quick, and then tell us about touring with CJ and any.
Yeah. Broken Gold was Pat was leaving the Gamblers, and when I joined Gamblers, I had my own band when I was in high school, and I was like a teenager, and I sang in it and I played guitar, and that was.
And this is in Denton, Texas.
I was in Carrollton, which was a shittier suburb between downtown Dallas and Denton.
So shittier Dallas area.
Yeah. So it was like equidistant to Plano.
Right. I hear that King Diamond used to live in Carrollton for a little.
Yes. Yeah. And
why did you see him pumping gas or?
No, I remember recording the band that I had recorded at a studio in Carrollton. And that was the
King
guy.
Diamond can't drive a car and get out of the car and put gas in his fucking car.
It's a hearse.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't recognize him without his bowler cap.
Yeah. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I wanted to catch you real quick on this band. You're a kid, and outside of Dallas, you've got this band. Is this band called Kicks or
it's called The Kicks? And we spelled it with it, and then we spelled it with a Z.
Okay. And the reason I ask this is because the very first time I ever met you, our friend John Miller took me to a punk rock house party here in Austin, and your band was playing, and he goes, you got to see this band, The Kicks. And my buddy Ian is in this band, and he's a kid. You were like 14 years old or something. And
yeah.
You were playing at some house party in Austin. And Johnny Miller takes me over, and I check it out, and I'm like, wow, this is great. These
guys, you mean Johnny Venom?
Johnny Venom, yeah, exactly.
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah,
I knew Venom before they called him Johnny Venom. So.
Yeah. But that's the very first night I met you. He was kind of hyping you as like this really cool dude. He's really young, plays in this really cool band, and I went to a house party and I saw you. And anyway, so bring us up to date. We're back to Broken Gold and touring with CJ Ramone. Yeah.
So after Pat he didn't want to tour anymore, and we still really liked just hanging out and playing. And so we were like, let's do this band that we've been talking about trying to do. And we're going to do kind of something that's like sort of kind of like the Replacements, but some of the kind of post-hardcore stuff that we were listening to and like really getting into. And we kind of had like an idea of what it was going to be. It was going to be very like primal drums and kind of like something that sounded big, even though we were a 3-piece. And that was kind of it with that band. And then of course that evolves over time. And then it's just basically what it turned into. And I kind of was just like, I just want to do something that sounds kind of like Minneapolis 1986 or something, you know, like Husker Du, Replacements, but Soul Asylum, but like, but more on the kind of punk edge of their, you know, of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Still like kind of like basically fast and not whiny singer-songwritery stuff. You know what I mean? It makes sense, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so we had that band, and then we did it for a while and we toured. And then, so we got actually asked by, Gamblers booking agent Stormy Shepard if Broken Gold was interested in going out opening for CJ, and it's just like, yeah, hell yeah, that'd be fucking awesome. Like, didn't know him or anything like that, never met him before, and he was just super immediately the coolest dude. Like immediately, it was just, I don't know, it was awesome. It was kind of like we were fast friends, both of our like bands. Like he had a band of dudes that he was doing, and they were like just total awesome. Just everybody in that band was doing the thing, doing the downstroke, all that stuff. He has one giant Popeye right arm, you know what I mean? From just years of just doing the downstroke thing. And he's super cool, and he likes to hang out and,
throw a few back.
You throw a few back, tell a few stories. Yeah, he's a good dude. And and he took care of us, like it was, we were playing kind of the, the shitholes of lower America, and making our way through. We started in Texas and then went through like New Orleans, lots of Florida, of course. Like every single fucking time I ever go to Florida to play like any kind of band, you're going to be there for like 2 weeks or something, or like a week and a half. And
yeah, I remember the first time I went to Florida, I was like looking at the itinerary and I'm going, sure are going to be in Florida like 8 days.
Yeah.
What are we doing? It's crazy.
Might as well rent an apartment.
Yeah. And you feel every minute of it. Second you step out of that van, you are in Florida.
Yeah.
But anyways, we had a good time with him. As far as like stories and stuff, I don't know. I remember like he was just cool and, kind of, he was open to talk about stuff with the Ramones, and there was, some insight. There was a bunch of cool little weird things where like just this whole like tryout period. I had no idea that like Dee Dee was there the whole entire time, like kind of like making sure that he was like up to snuff with everything. And like,
wow,
that was cool to find out. And it was just like, man, and that he was kind of a just like peripheral around sort of while he was in the band, and that they were friends and stuff. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's like what you want to hear, where you're just like, yeah.
Well, it didn't even sound like it was a mentorship. It just sounded like he was just there and like, yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. You can do it, dude. Yeah, I'm just going to hang out. Go ahead, rock out.
Totally.
It's like hang out. Yeah.
He told me the story too about like when he was trying out, like the whole thing with he went AWOL and he ended up getting arrested and got put in the brig too for like leaving to, and they waited for him to get out. Yeah. So he could tour and stuff. But the weird story about like the speed of everything, like when he showed up, he had been learning the record speed. And so they practiced the record speed for his initial tryout. And then they were like, okay, do it the live speed. And it was like 5 times as fast. Yeah. I don't know like where that came, where like Johnny Ramone wanted to fit as many songs into a set or something. You know way more about this than I do, Dave. But yeah, like it was cool that he got like this tape, and so he had to practice like to the the live speed, and having to go over to Marky's house to get the tape, and then like Marky answers the door in a kimono, and just like he didn't know the guy that well, and he was just like, "What the hell is going?" Like, oh man.
No, I've spent some time with CJ, and he is a great guy and a lot of fun, and I'm just glad you had that opportunity, because I'm sure that was a blast, you being a Ramones fan and everything, getting to spend some time.
Man, he was so cool. He let me come up and sing the Dee Dee part on 53rd and 3rd every single night. And like, it was so cool. Like, I had just like blast. That was the one.
That's huge.
Yeah. That was like the one like awesome thing when I started working for Band of Horses. I took a few of those guys out to go and see him play in Philadelphia. CJ was playing when we had a night off, and it was funny because we walk in and then they get up on that, they start playing that song, and I didn't just met these guys, and I just CJ's just like, "Yo, Ian, where you at? Are you here?" And then they start playing it, and I like, get to do the thing where I got to run up on stage, and these guys don't know me at all, and get to, I don't know. It's kind of a bunch of, I love that shit, you know, and I'm sure we've all gotten to do that kind of cool stuff from just sticking around and just, you know, well, that's the stuff that's, I feel like that's
kind of goes back to, you're my boy, Blue.
Yeah.
My boy. It's that kind of shit.
Yeah. It's just, you know, and that's why the hell else are we doing any of this?
Right. That's right. Because we ain't getting rich.
No. Yeah. Right. Oh, man.
So you mentioned Band of Horses. Tell us a little bit about, what do you do with them? Are you a road manager, tour manager, tech? What do you do?
So you just mentioned that you were working for them. I didn't even know you were working for them. I just always thought that you were in the band. So
I am. Yeah, I'm the. I've been the guitarist for 4 years. But
clear all that up for us. I was for them and then became the guitar player.
Yeah, I was when Gamblers kind of started slowing down. I like really put it out there that I was like down to kind of do anything, you know, as far as like working behind the scenes and, you know, and then also down to play. Like I joined that band Leftover Crack for a while for like, I was in that band for like a year. And then, so I started was like, well, you know, I was kind of getting into, you know, like I'll tech, I don't know, you know, like whatever. And so I started doing, just kind of runner kind of stuff locally. And then I eventually I'm extremely lucky. And I started I got a runner job working for the Foo Fighters, and I got a permanent job as their assistant tour manager for a few years, for like 3 or 4 years or something like that.
So that's really big. Just to make sure that everyone heard correct, you were basically assistant to the TM, the tour manager.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to do.
for 2 years.
It was for the whole.
To some people, that's like you're working for Elvis, because you're working for a member of Nirvana. Is the way that people look at that kind of shit.
Yeah, too technically.
You're working for Pat Smear.
Yeah. He's cool.
There's so many different like angles you can go at by going, oh yeah, I'm gonna go for just these guys called the Foo Fighters.
Man, it was really weird and in a good way. Like to me, it's still surreal and it was crazy. But the only what happened was right after you know, I'd been with them and would still be. If this playing thing, you know, or I would at least have tried to be.
Well, you are a guitar player, so. Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is Dave fell off stage and broke his leg. And then we ended up doing this big long tour with him and this throne. And
didn't Axl borrow his throne, or was
afterwards? It's crazy that they kept that. I figured that they dismantled that thing, but
who kept it? Axl kept it, or
they have this big warehouse.
Foo?
Where they keep all of this stuff, and
so Axl actually returned it.
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know the status of the throne.
You know what I want to see is the next time Weeby falls off stage and punctures a lung. I want to see him do some dates in the throne.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
You guys have that on. You're not doing any dates.
Yeah,
you can't barely talk.
But yeah, after he had fallen, you know, like we did the whole throne thing. It was just like we took some time off, and during that time, it was like, okay, they're taking, you know, an indefinite amount of time off. This is between the Sonic Highways record and that Concrete and Gold record, and like I got to work, and so. One of the bands that was on the same management was Band of Horses, and a lot of my best friends that I've known since I was 17 years old are the Gamblers' first tour manager ever is the tour manager for Band of Horses. And so I needed a job, and I was just like, dude, you know, if you need any help, let me know. And he brought me on as doing assistant TM stuff, just kind of like almost kind of like doing a bunch of stuff. I was also like counting in merch and checking in with sellers, and then, you know, settling at the end of the night, like settling merch, not the show, but like, you know, whatever. And then those dudes are just cool. And, you know, like we had the same sound guy, this guy, Mark Arnold, he was in this band called Big Drill Car a long time ago. But he is the front of house dude for X on that X and Rollins band tour. And now he's the front of house guy for Band of Horses. And, we had, you know, our lighting guy was this guy named Dara Guinea, who I had met with, he used to work for Flogging Molly, Gamblers who toured with them. He's still with Band of Horses. And so anyways, it was like a good group of dudes were like, oh man, isn't this crazy? Like, you know, basically close to 20 years later, we're still all in the same room doing the same thing. Yeah. And so, and the guys in the band were super cool, and we got along like very fast friends, and we got along really well, same types of dudes and like all the same stuff, maybe not particularly the same kind of like music, abrasive kind of, you know, whatever that were, yeah, all right, rock and roll kind of stuff, but definitely like the same kind of background from that kind of stuff. And it was just cool. And then, so, you know, like every once in a while I'd end up getting asked to kind of play extra guitar if the singer was just going to lead sing and play tambourine or something. And then I got asked to play with them on Jimmy Kimmel. And that was kind of like, whoa, okay. And then there was like a weird in-between time between guitar players on this. We were on a long ass record cycle for that time when I joined. And so there was some people left, some people came and then left. And I was just there and was just like, if you guys need a hand, I'm here. I don't know. And it kind of got brought up jokingly, like, yeah, let's just fucking have you into it. And I was just like, I might try and give it a real shot. And it's been years now.
Wow.
And, we've recorded and we got a record coming out. We're playing Lollapalooza coming up, nice. Both weekends at ACL, Railbird Festival, a bunch.
Congratulations, man.
Of other dates.
Super fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you know, I'm still, man, just working and slugging. I'm, you know, just still doing it. You know, it's just,
you're not buying a yacht yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, that wasn't even, I mean, I'm just, like I said, I feel like very much like Forrest Gump, just kind of around, and it's just like, oh, this other big kind of deal thing, and I'm just kind of, I gotta go pee, or you know, like in the background, and just happen to be there.
Well, you're obviously, you know, a good guy, because you don't get hired being a dick, and you're obviously talented, and you know how to write a song, and you know how to take, you know, the main guy in a band's thing and make it better with your guitar playing. So hats off to you. Just being able to be in the same room and make it blend, but shine a little brighter. It's important. You know, I'm not too proud to mention that me and Ian worked together for the School of Rock, which is, you know, a corporate music school. And, you know, that kind of saved me. And because I'm not buying a yacht.
Even that saved our ass during, especially this COVID times.
Totally saved our ass. Yeah. So it saved our asses time and time again by way of, you know, I mean, if I'm gone for a week or just a weekend or a month or whatever, they're cool with that. They want us to tour. They want us to make records. They want us to have to ask for time off to go be a musician, because that's the product.
Well, yeah, it's cool too. Just being able to kind of be like, yeah, this is the, you know, the reality of it is, you know, like being able to kind of, I feel like, relate some of that to, especially like, you know, like some of the older kids that maybe think that like, that they're going to maybe give it a go or something. And it's just like, well, this is the reality of it. It's going to suck like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But that 10%, pretty good.
Yeah.
Those moments where it's like, oh, okay, you might be able to sing the DD part in the CJ Ramone.
That's right.
Show.
Yeah, but awesome. Don't quit your day job. What do you mean day job? I don't have a day. Well, you better get one, because it's not really plan B. You know, when you think about, you know, putting a tattoo on your face. That's really a plan B. That's like you're drinking, you're walking around drinking the punch when you have a tattoo on your face. You're not like, I drank the punch once.
Oh man, the best thing when just living in Austin, like forever, me and Bones and like all the people that worked at the Thundercloud on Lake Austin Boulevard. That was some good times because we used to have to schedule each other. Like, okay, you going out next week? Okay, so we can do, like scheduling our work schedule at Thundercloud.
Switch days, switch weeks with each other, whoever's on tour, right?
Yeah. Oh man,
so from Texas French bread to Thundercloud subs to Conan's Pizza to Magnolia to just everybody who's worked at all of those places, plays in a rock band. Yeah. And so when you think about the schedule switching and the incestuous sort of like it, every scene in the world has that.
Oh, totally. I just feel
the same scene over and time. And I love it. And I love, let's hope that they're talking about it just like we're having a laugh right now. Let's just hope that that's because I think it's a great fellowship and builds community. And those are going to be memories that last forever. Bones is a total lifer. Marty is a total lifer.
Totally,
total lifer. And so there's no plan B.
No.
By the way,
I don't got one. I don't know.
We should mention for people who don't know, we're talking about the lower class brats. So
yeah.
When we talk about Bones and Marty, it's look them up. A good punk rock band from
great stuff. I love them.
I feel like we glossed over the Foo Fighters, and I don't want to harp on it, but I do. I mean, very few people get the opportunity to work closely with that band, and obviously they're huge. So, do you have any like you were telling great stories about Henry Rollins? Do you have any stories about Dave or Pat or or Hawkins or?
Dude, I was with those guys all day, every single day for years.
This is what I'm looking for. See, we glossed right over this.
They're great, and the one cool thing that I think is amazing is that everybody that works for them, pretty much like really closely, is somehow related to something like old ass punk shit, like one of my best friends and total like mentor people is their tour manager, this guy named Gus Brandt, and he's the best dude in the world. He used to book Black Flag when he was a teenager in Pensacola, Florida, and that's how he made that's what he did. He toured, like he eventually got asked to tour with some bands, and then he ended up tour managing and eating shit in vans forever and ever and ever. And now he's this kind of person that he is. And he's a very, cool, but, he's got a lot of shit going on. Yeah. Not just with Foos, like with a bunch of other stuff too, like Blink-182 and Pharrell and like just,
wow.
And
like Disney shit.
And the dude comes from, a punk rock background, fully still listens to a lot of cool shit. I love that dude. And then, like Chris Shiflett's guitar tech is the tour manager for Poison Idea, and goes out with Tenacious D as well. And, it's a lot of people like that, and they keep them close too, and like make sure that I've never, whatever you kind of like want, I feel like that band to be like, you want them to be fucking super cool, right? Because, it's just like, seem like the nicest guys, and they completely are. They take care of every single person that works for them. And there's a lot of people. They take care of them so much. And it's just, I don't know. It was kind of exactly what you would want it to be. And I was never like a big, like super Nirvana fan. I didn't like hate them. I wasn't like a hater, but I was just not, that was, for me, whenever I was growing up in the time where I think you get into that and it locks into your brain where you're like, oh man, this band, I was like, I had punk rock blinders on where I was like, if it's not from like UK 1977 or like UK 82, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Well, that sounds like that's just super nerd.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if it's not hardcore, it sucks. You know,
yeah. If it didn't look a certain way, if it didn't sound a certain way, and if they didn't play a certain type of guitar or whatever.
Any kind of fan, any kind of music, any kind of, you can insert that sort of like 17-year-old brain where if it's not what I like, you suck.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
But I think that actually worked. I don't know. I think that kind of, I don't know. Those dudes are really cool. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything. That whole leg breaking debacle was crazy. When he fell off stage and
I can't believe he finished the show.
Well, I couldn't believe that either. And I couldn't believe that was the longest show of that tour as well. You know, like, and he, like, by the middle of it, he's like crutching around, going down the catwalk over to the B stage. And, it was super wild. And that was strange. I remember though, the first thing that I did the very first day that I worked for them, I flew over to the UK. And I got there like 2 days early. And the first thing I did was I looked up what shows were happening locally, like, because I had nothing to do for 2 days. And I saw the UK subs at the 100 Club, which was like, all right, that's at least really cool. If I get fired tomorrow, at least, at least I did that.
Why would you get fired the next day? Just for
I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I completely went in thinking, I don't fucking know what I'm doing, you know? And I didn't, but I figured it out very quickly and
faking it till you made it. You know, you don't have a tattoo on your face. You're okay.
Yeah. But
so what were your responsibilities? I know they were kind of all over the map, but just sort of give us from the simplest thing to the most, you know, complex thing.
A lot of it was dealing with guest list, which could be an entire afternoon in itself with that. I mean, like, it would range anywhere from, you know, like 100 to 300 people like a night or something. And then having to, you know, we had many levels of access. So there's like,
you were the guest list guy.
Yeah. And
holy shit. That's a job I could not fucking do.
And so I did that. And I was also kind of like, if we had, like people coming in to guest sing or something like that, I was like the liaison to go and meet these people. So there was some, I mean, that was actually one of
Were you the liaison to David Lee Roth?
No, but there were some funny ones, man. Like Perry Farrell, that was pretty funny. Some of the coolest ones though, where I was like, holy shit, this is fucking happening. Was Gaz from Killing Joke came and sang Requiem with them, which was amazing. I had to go and like meet him outside and be like, hey dude, come back this way. Let me walk you through everything. And we had, so one of the days, this is actually pretty cool. One of the days we were in New York and it was at this place called Citi Field, but it used to be called Shea Stadium. And, I was also a
little band called the Beatles played there, I think.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, a lot of this, you know, there was a lot of moments where I was just kind of like, I do not deserve to be here, but I'm here working and just whatever, and just doing my job. So I was also in charge of parking. And so like if family members or whatever had to get behind the stage, you know, whatever, I had to sort that out and make sure that security and all that stuff was sorted. And so I start seeing all these names in New York, and I'm kind of recognizing them, like Daryl Jennifer. And I was just like, man, I think that's Dr. No's real name from Bad Brains. And I was just like, what's happening here? And so, and then there was a bunch of people like connected to those. And I was like, okay, they're just coming to hang out. Cause that was totally normal too, to like have like somebody awesome to come and chill and bring all their family and have their own, you know, room back there and backstage. And so I'm walking through the halls and I start hearing, you know, Bad Brain songs getting played in the practice room, because that's another thing. We set up this practice space every single day. So that's the one thing about that band is they practice every single day. Like as soon as they get into the building, you know, they get there around like 4 or 5 or something like that. They beeline all of them to the room, and they'll work up like a new song, or they'll like, you know, let's play Detroit Rock City tonight or something, you know, like whatever. And so I'm walking by the room and I start hearing Bad Brain songs, and there's that, you know, you're like, don't fucking walk in the room. You know what I mean? Like if they're doing stuff, this is the one time where I was like, I think I'm going to go in there. I can't not go in there because I know that these dudes are here and they're playing with them. And I was like, I can not see this. And so, I walked in there, and sure enough, it was, you know, like Dave playing guitar and singing, and Taylor playing drums, and Dr. No and Daryl Jennifer playing as well. And then like Shiflett is hanging out, and Gus is in there too. And like me and Gus both, we just like held up our phones, and we were just kind of like, like watching them rehearse. They went out on stage and they ended up playing. You can look this up on YouTube, like Foo Fighters, Bad Brains at Citi Field. And it's
your phone footage. I'm kidding.
Not the phone, but it's just right after he broke his leg too. So he was pushing something in a little thing. Man, yeah, there was a bunch of, I mean, I love that I had that experience, and I love those dudes still, and I get to see them very soon. We were supposed to play 4th of July last, like the COVID year. We were supposed to open up for them in DC. Band of Horses was, and I was like so fucking freaked out because it was going to be the first time that they were going to see me play. There was lots of fucking hazing when I joined that crew. And because I was traveling, you know, Dave hired me personally. And so there was like tons of fucking with me the entire time. And, which is great, you know.
What's the worst they gave you? What was the worst?
Nothing much. It was just a bunch of just like, I mean, the thing was I lived in fear for the first like 6 months because they kept alluding that they were going to do something super fucked up, and they never did. But I was just always just like, I'm ready for it. Like at any moment, like, I don't know what it's going to be, or like what these fucking rich motherfuckers do to haze somebody or something, you know, like, and, it was a lot of just, you know, like schoolyard teasing bullshit, but I don't know. They're awesome people. I love them.
That's so amazing that you've had that experience and continue to have that experience. I mean, how cool is that? Tell us how the phone call or whatever, Dave hiring you personally, how did that go about?
That was so like I was driving him around here in town because he had that TV show that he
Sonic Highways.
He did the Austin one, and that was kind of like
Gary Clark Jr. played on that.
Yeah, man. He was on tour. He was on tour with us for for like a lot of that tour, and he would come up and do that song that he did with them, and he's an awesome dude. And I was just like I said, just kind of driving around and showing him around.
How'd you get the gig of even just driving him around? How did the whole day?
That buddy of mine that I told you about that used to Gamblers, who's the tour manager for Band of Horses now. He was just he had done some stuff with them when they were doing this Sound City
documentary that we talk about a lot on this show.
Actually. Yeah. He did some stuff with them, and so they don't like hiring just like car companies, you know. They would rather get like
a guy in a suit. They don't want that.
Yeah, they would rather get like
the local,
a trustworthy local dude, and you know, and so that was kind of about it. And I just drove around, and there was there was a bunch of stuff, like the first week, it was just like, man, that was cool. They were supposed to play, and they ended up canceling the show because I think Taylor's wife was having a baby. Mm-hmm. They canceled the show, and then it just turned into Dave hanging out for like a few days, and just driving around, just kind of
in a rental car,
in just a 15 passenger, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that was it. We just kind of got along, and Gus was there, and we got along as well. And that was really about kind of it. It wasn't like that crazy of like a thing where it was just like that time happened. They came back a month later to do the makeup date for the show, and they asked me to come back to drive around for that, and then to bring in a friend and to help out because the whole band was going to be there. And then like there was just other people there too, so there was a lot more people to move around, and we just kind of made it really easy, and just lots of kind of just shooting the shit. And at the end of the whole thing, he was just like, dude, what do you think about just I don't know, like working for us? And I was like, I don't know what you want me to do, but he was like, we'll make up a job. He was like, we're about to get real busy, so Gus needs some help. I don't know. And then I looked at Gus, and he was just like, man, if he's saying this, it'll probably happen. I don't know. And so I just was like, I'm not going to hold my breath at all. And sure, I'm glad, I totally, I've heard these things from people before, like about jobs or, like playing stuff or whatever. I've heard this kind of stuff before, and I was just like, oh, man, that'd be really cool. All right, well, I guess I'll be hearing from you. And man,
you did.
Yeah, and sure enough, it was like a few months later, it was just like, hey, like, sorry about the wait or whatever. We're about to get going on this thing. Like, do you have a passport? And it was just like, oh shit, yeah, I do. I was working at Wheatsville, and
Wheatsville Co-op.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, I do. They're like, can you be in London next week? And I was just like, yes. And they were like, okay. And they immediately put me to work. And then I was like trying to find, like, I remember like that afternoon, as soon as I was just like, yeah, I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork immediately that just got sent to me. And then I just started sourcing things, like finding stuff in places like, can you find a vacuum to get delivered to this building? And, whatever, just for real, like just something that simple or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, okay. And that's kind of what it was.
Oh, that's pretty. I mean, a gopher, but a gopher for people that you respect, and there were a lot of people that you've known for going back years and years and years that are in basically your circle.
Yeah, it was cool though, because there was a lot of people that I'd known that were. It was just it was awesome, and as far as just making, I don't know, knowing people kind of going into it, but then also making a lot of like really like lifelong friends and stuff like that with some of the other people on the crew, and people that I still talk to, and still people that I run into and tour with, and I feel very, very lucky in that respect. Just because.
That's excellent. I have to throw this in there because I think it's funny. I met Taylor when he was playing for Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, I was trying to think of. We were talking about this the other day.
South Park Meadows in like 2000. Yeah, 99, 2000, something like that. Maybe late 90s, 98, possibly.
He's a wild drummer. Like, just it's crazy. All this, I mean, everybody in that band is just like.
Yeah, everybody can play.
Just disgustingly talented.
So speaking of, do you have a Pat Smear story you can share with us?
Man, not really. That guy, like, he was always super, super cool. And he's a man of few words. You know what I mean? He's
legend.
Yeah. He's kind of in and out of like, he shows up and you see him and he's just kind of like, and goes on stage and then it's done and he's like, and then he's out.
Is that his signature thing?
I don't know. You know what I mean? Just kind of like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Just like, hey, how you doing?
Here I am.
And then
here I go.
And goodbye. Yeah.
I like it.
I met him out in Hollywood one time. I went out there just to, spend a week, basically going up and down the Sunset Strip, checking out all the clubs that I read about as a teenager and see where Motley Crue got started and Van Halen got started. It was always a dream of mine. And I went out there and at the time, Buck Cherry was a fairly new band, and their label contacted me about writing their bio. So I wrote their bio, became friends with the guys in the band. I'm out in LA and I got to leave in about 2 days. And I'm thinking, you know what? Just out of the blue, I'm going to call their publicist and see if by chance the guys are playing a local gig or maybe they're out on tour, whatever. I'm going to give it a shot. Sure enough, they were going to be playing at the Viper Room the day I was supposed to leave. So I call the airlines, I rearrange my flights, I show up at the Viper Room, surprise the dudes, and Pat Smear is there. And along with Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols, and I met Ray Manzarek from The Doors that night too.
Wow.
And so I'm at this club, I'm watching Buck Cherry, and we finish up, the gig is over, I walk out into the parking lot, bump into Pat Smear, and I say hello, and I ask him if if I could get a photo with him, and he was like, "No, not at all." So we take a picture, and he goes, "Do you like Buck Cherry?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love him, man. Great band." This is about the time of the second album, maybe.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, they're playing tomorrow night at the Whiskey." And I said, "Yeah, I know, I heard." And he goes, "If you come to the Whiskey gig, I'll buy all your drinks." And I was like, dude, I already had to rearrange I'm from Texas. I already had to rearrange my flight to be here tonight. But he was really sweet. He was real gracious about taking the photo. And then we were having this moment where he was like, "Hey, you should come hang out with me tomorrow night at the Whiskey and we'll do it all over again. And I'll pay for everything." And I was like, "That's sorry, awesome. Dude, I got to go."
Didn't Steve Jones play on that Buck Cherry's song?
Yeah, he co-produced the first record, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ghost played on some of the tracks as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's credited as a co-producer on the debut album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ian, I wanted to ask you also real quick. A lot of people may know this, and some of them won't, especially listeners to this podcast, but you were involved in one hell of a bike accident many years ago that left you fucking beat up, man. I don't even know if that's an overstatement. I mean, it was pretty grim. There was even an article in Spin magazine about you getting hit by a car or something, and you were broken bones and the whole 9 yards. And so there was probably a time when you were worried about not only would you ever be able to play again, but I mean, possibly not even walk again. So, I mean, fill everyone in on that episode. And you're obviously 100% recovered, or so you appear. So.
Yeah, sort of.
And maybe a few loose screws up in the noggin, but
yeah, that's the thing, is the issue. I was riding my bike home, and I'm sure you guys know this, but Airport Boulevard is a very long road, and it's a dangerous road to even just like be driving around on. But at this time of the day, I was leaving Pat Lillard's house, and I lived on the east side on Springdale and Airport, basically. And it was like, okay, I could cut through all these neighborhoods. It was like 11:30 or midnight or something like that. And I was like, I could just cruise all the way down Airport. So that's what I did. And it would take me like 5 minutes or something to get home. And this guy just didn't see me. And I had lights on, but, wasn't wearing a helmet. And this dude hit me going 40 miles an hour or something, hit the brakes, and I ended up flying and landed like 20 feet away. And I broke a bunch of stuff, like my left ankle, my right hip socket, my left wrist, fractured my skull in the back. And then I had internal decapitation, which I'd never heard of before. But basically when he hit me, like my skull and spine.
That's not your new death metal band?
No.
I think Jason just got an idea for a new Ignited song. That's
great.
That's a new Ignited song.
Oh man. Yeah, and that happened, but
what is internal decapitation? I mean,
basically like my skull and spine kind of dislocated and relocated instantaneously. And usually it just dislocates, but like, I guess the way the guy hit me, it kind of went like that. And so these tendons in your neck, they aren't supposed to stretch that way, like stretched that way. And, I had to walk around with, this fucking big brace. And like, I had this crazy road rash that like went all down the side of my left side, all the way down past my knee. And like, it was a humbling experience because I had to, my mom had to, I was in ICU for like a week and then I got out and I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks and I had to go and move back in with my mom because I could not function. I couldn't like stand up or just sit down on like the toilet or like take a shower or any of that stuff. So, it was pretty fucked up. And, that happened a couple of weeks before my birthday in 2008, and which is a long time ago now. Yeah. But what ended up happening as a result, like the one thing I was worried about, of course, was, can I play fucking guitar? That was the first thing that I was worried about. And so like, luckily I was able to, even with the cast on, because it broke right here, it didn't break up there. And so I was on stage pretty quick after that, which was so stupid because I had vertigo really bad. And that was the thing that I still kind of every once in a while I get a little kind of weird kind of little thing. And but
got banged around in that
we were talking about this, me and Jason were talking because your brother was dealing with that too, right?
Right. He's been in a bunch of car accidents and, some head injuries and probably some skateboard accidents that he may not even remember happening.
Just getting the head tossed around.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Well, I remember seeing it was all over the local news. And then I want to say that there was even an article in Spin magazine because I remember seeing a photo of you in the neck brace. Your face was completely black and blue. You were laid up in a hospital bed. You looked pretty bad, man. And I know everybody was worried about you, and like I said earlier, forget about getting on stage and play. And we were just hoping you were going to be able to stand up and walk when this was all done. So
it was that was a pretty, so like when that happened, that was a good kind of like crazy turning point, at least for me, having gone through all that. And then just at the end of it, where I was just like, you kind of feel a little crazy after something like that happens. And I kind of felt like, did you ever see that movie, Yes Man?
Yeah.
So like after that happened, I was kind of like that, where I was just like, I will do anything if somebody asks me to do it, as far as like, not like stupid shit, but I'm saying like something that I would be afraid of beforehand, as far as like, I'm, freaked out about taking on some big responsibility job, or like taking on some kind of thing that I'm afraid of, that I'm afraid that I'm going to fuck up, or like, whatever. I just did it after that. And it was a good positive thing, but always still kind of having that weird little like, if I stand up too quickly and my eyes are going to get dizzy. But
well, that's
those
amazing.
are like that's like Evel Knievel injuries you had, bro.
So yeah, it was bad news, and and it's interesting that you say that you still sometimes experience these episodes of vertigo or whatever, because when you play on stage with the Gamblers, I mean that's nothing but chaos, you know? And I would guess that would, you know, you stand to trigger that at any moment on stage.
It's just, it's kind of like always feels a little wild sometimes. I don't know. It's like, I don't even know. The one thing that I was afraid of was like, am I going to be, did something happen and it happened to where I'm not going to notice it? You know what I mean? To where like, did I get like some kind of damage or whatever that I'm not going to notice? You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
Yeah. Where it was like, I don't know. That's so freaky. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're obviously glad that you have recovered from that. And I wanted to ask you.
I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, of course. I wanted to ask you a question, and this is, I really want to ask this because you're a few years younger than me and Jason, so I want your perspective on this, because a lot of our guests are
Thanks for pointing that out, Dave.
Yeah. Hey, I included myself in there, but just an off-the-cuff question, because
you're the oldest one here, Dave.
Yeah, right. I think we all know that's a lie.
Oh man.
Well, you know, keep telling them. Keep telling those lies.
But Ian, I was curious to know. We often ask this question sometimes, and it gets kind of old because the guys and girls are usually our age. But what was the album that got you hooked on rock and roll? Coming from a guy who's a little younger than we are, what album got you hooked?
It was a record, and I have thought about this a little bit, but it was a record that my mom bought me before I even kind of knew what I was like into at all, because which was Dead Kennedy's Plastic Surgery Disasters. My mom bought me that for a birthday one year, and she was like, "Me and your dad always thought this record was funny," and because it has all those like skits and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And my mom's actually here. She's at the house. We've been dealing with my dog all week. And, but it's funny that was the one that kind of like, it was scary to listen to. Like, it was a bunch of things where it was like, yeah, there was like funny stuff, but like just the audio, the way that it was recorded is so abrasive, and to where it kind of like scared me when I was a kid, when I heard it.
Yeah.
How old were you when?
I was probably like right at 14, like maybe that year. And so like, that was the thing where like, which was perfect timing, because it was right when I moved to Dallas from San Jose, and I didn't have any fucking friends, didn't know anybody, but I got that CD that came with a catalog. So now I had like something to order in a destination to go to, which was like calling the record store to see if they could order it for me. And then like, I didn't think about getting it sent to my house. And it's not like my mom would have cared. I just was just like, "Can you guys order this thing?" And I just didn't know how shit worked or anything. And so it's like, okay, well, I can go to the record store and go and pick this thing up. And then you end up meeting weirdos that hang out there, like maybe the weirdo dude that works at the record store in Carrollton, you know, like.
Hey, man, I know King Diamond.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah. But that was cool. That was the record that like, it definitely opened up a bunch of things to where like, not only to like the songs and everything like that, but just everything that came with it. Like I like, you know, looked up every single band that was on in the catalog, and like half of them I didn't really like, but then like, you know, you're starting to kind of like flip around, and then you see those record covers and you're like, I recognize this band's name from that catalog. And then you run into like another record and you're like, oh, what's this band Fear, you know, or like, and then you just kind of get into it, and then next thing you know, you're here.
I was lucky enough to have older brothers and Randy too.
Yeah.
And then I remember, you know, I mean, it was probably 1980 or 81 when, you know, like Circle Jerks, Group Sex, and Fear the Record were pretty much brand new.
Yeah.
And Randy basically showing me those bands like right after he was turned on to them.
Yeah.
that sort of changed my whole. I mean, I already knew the Pistols, right? Because my older brother.
That stuff just, yeah.
My older brothers were, well, my brother Mitch, he was bringing home Pistols and Stones and Beatles and Ramones and, you know, the first Elvis Costello record, you know, and the first B-52s record, you know, late 70s when music was sort of like finding itself.
Just,
you know,
all over the place too, though. Yeah. Like everybody you just named, like none of them sound similar to each other at all.
Right.
Like, even those punk bands.
Like the first couple of Cars albums, it's the same kind of sort of throw, right? When you think about what's happening in England and middle America, you know, at the same time, all these and CBGBs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty amazing time to find out about all those stuff. But I think that it's amazing. I like that Dave brought that up. It could turn into our shot of rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I ask, and I wanted to get Ian to chime in on that question is because, you know, typically Jason and I, you know, the common denominator with me and Jason and a lot of our guests and people our age is Kiss, you know, and I knew that, you know, you were a bit younger than we are. So Kiss was probably already done and gone. And by the time you're coming up, I wanted to find out what was it that got you, because Kiss was in the rearview mirror at that point. You know,
I also think that it's awesome that it was your fucking mom.
Dude,
like here's a Dead Kennedys record. Whoa, Dead Kennedys.
Yeah,
we think it's
Dead
funny.
Kennedy.
You would have never, and it's funny because you'd never guess it, I guess, in a million years. But if you met her, you'd be like, okay, this tracks.
Yeah, it makes too much sense now.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
So it's great that your mom warped your mind for you.
Yeah, they had like a bunch of tapes. Like they had, I mean, like a bunch. Like I remember when I heard X, the band X, for the first time. They had an Under the Big Black Sun record on tape. They had like, but other weird shit, like, you know, like Front 242 and Ministry and like Butthole Surfers and stuff like that. But this was all also mixed in with like the music that my mom would listen to clean, which was like Sade and the Dick Tracy soundtrack that Madonna sang on.
Soothing pop songs, jazz pop songs.
Yeah. But then he also had this other stuff in the rack.
I think that's amazing.
Mom for the win with the Dead Kennedys record.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
She'll love that.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah. Ian, thank you so much for being with us tonight, man. This has been fun.
I love it.
I'm a huge Riverboat Gamblers fan. I can't wait to see you guys again. I try to make it to every local show that I can, and I'm hoping that you guys can get in a room and knock out another album.
Yeah, man. We're playing at the Lost Well with the Zero Boys and Starving Wolves, and what's the date? I'm looking at it right now. Saturday, August 14th. That's going to be fun.
There you go. Saturday, August 14th.
This episode will be out before then, I think.
Austin, Texas. Yeah, definitely.
If not, that show was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll speak about it in the past tense.
Yeah.
No, this will be out well before that, so this actually kind of serves as a promo. So there you go.
Right on, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, if anybody's looking for that 7-inch, anxiousandangry.com, or I think Gamblers Forever Gamblers.com as well. Somebody got that and paid for that URL or whatever, that website. That's awesome.
Anxious and Angry for the 7.
Hats off to Ryan for putting all that together.
Yeah.
Let me handle it.
Yeah. Ryan's great. Shout out to Off Their Heads and all those guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Right on, Ian. Thank you so
awesome
much. Man.
Thank you guys, man. This is so cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you asking me.
Absolutely. And to our listeners out there, we thank you for listening. On behalf of our guest, Ian MacDougall, I'm Metal Dave, along with my co-host, Jason McMaster. And we'll see you next time on the Talk Louder podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.